Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Michelle Williams. I'm the administrator for the Family Services Administration at DHS. I wanted to welcome you all today to the ribbon cutting for the Virginia Williams Family Resource Center here at 920 Rhode Island Avenue Northeast. This is actually our second time in this location, but it looked nothing like this. So we have expanded, doubled our staff size, doubled the services that we provide. And so we're so glad that you all could join us today for the ribbon cutting, and hopefully you'll stay through our tour of the facility. I have the pleasure of introducing our mayor, Mayor Vincent Gray.
Thank you, Michelle. Nothing like getting straight to the point, right? Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Isn't it wonderful to be in a place with the kind of dignity that this exudes? You know, unfortunately, many of us over the years have been in so many places involving human services that were, if anything, they made people more miserable than they were before they got there. And this, I think, is yet another example of, creating a place with a sense of dignity and hope and optimism that we want people to be able to feel. We, just a few weeks ago, cut the ribbon on the Fort Davis Center, one of our service centers, and what an upgrade that is. We are now working on 645 8th Street, which also will have a CVS on the first floor. And by the way, for those who don't know, I'm really proud of what CVS has done. They have stopped selling cigarettes in their stores, and I hope others will follow behind. We are back, as Michelle said. We are back. We were here before, and it looked absolutely nothing like this. We were over at 33 N Street for a period of time, and many people, of course, were there and visited there. I am really proud, too, that this is a continuing rollout of something that we've talked about for many years. You know, we've done it before, but certainly not to this level of sophistication, and that is create an integrated service center where there are lots of services, there are lots of people, lots of agencies that are working together. You know, Brian and I were just talking about some of the agencies like CFSA and OSSI and others that are here that have a role to play in the lives of so many of our families. I'm really pleased, too, and you'll hear from them shortly, that we've got the Community Partnership for the Prevention of Homelessness. Sue, you've been working at this for a long time. Yep. And hopefully we're making progress that we won't have to revisit in the future. And Mike Farrell from the Coalition for the Homeless, another stalwart in the vineyards. These agencies help with a lot of things, like helping our kids get registered for school and make sure they have the immunizations and other requirements that are met in order to be able to get into school and stay in school. Child support services, which often are the difference between people having the resource, the financial wherewithal to be able to live and not have it. And then one of the most important functions, and that is recognizing the myriad things that people often need and having a unified case planning approach, which if that's done well, you can do a lot of other things extremely well also. We're focusing a lot here, of course, on the plight of families who are homeless. Again, we were at 33 N Street from, I guess, November of 12 to 2 years later, when this place has now been completed, and again is really a dignified setting. And I guess we can say now the Virginia Williams Resource Center is in a permanent home. There's some symbolism associated with that, isn't there? As it is in a permanent home, we're obviously working to create a permanent home for the people who are served here. I want to thank Doug and Norm and Jamal, who've done so much in the city. As a matter of fact, there's so much going on in this part of the city that Doug and Norm are associated with. We've wanted for many years to be able to see the reinvigoration, if you will, or I should say invigoration of the New York Avenue corridor, and it really is taking place at this stage. You look at what's happening at the Heck warehouse, The new building that's taking shape, almost finished, at the corner of Florida Avenue in New York, and then just go all the way out to Bladensburg Road. And it really does send a message of a new sense of hope for people in the city. This is, at its best, it's a public-private partnership that's taking place. The folks to my left, who I just mentioned, obviously are in the private sector. We represent the public sector, but we all join in a commitment to be able to try to get people to a different place, to be able to become self-sufficient, which is a term that is oftentimes overworked. We had an unprecedented increase in homelessness among families, I guess, over the last couple of years. In fact, we got to a point this past January where we had over 700 families that were in shelter. And as a result of that, we launched a number of efforts, not the least of which was our 500 Families in 100 Days campaign that we started in earnest in April. And we've been working hard at it ever since. Again, this past January, we had, I think, 720 families that were in shelter, which is the largest number I can recall. I don't know if you all recall any numbers that were larger than that, but it's a number that is larger than any I can put my finger on. You know, and since that time, we have moved into permanent housing, over 360 families, and we've actually leased up now, or identified and leased up 600 affordable units, which means that we are well on our way to getting many, if not all, of the families out and into permanent settings. Rapid rehousing, which is an approach that has come on the scene in the last couple of 3 years, has been an approach that we have used and we will continue to use because it is a way of getting people into affordable housing. One of the things I'm really proud of is we, I think, are making the investments that will help reduce the likelihood or certainly the magnitude of this problem in the future. This fiscal year that just ended, we invested in affordable housing in the District of Columbia, $187 million. And there are lots of organizations who are working to create that housing. And I'm pleased that the council approved my budget for fiscal year 15, and 15 just started a few days ago, for another $100 million, which means we're investing $287, almost $300 million in affordable housing in the city. The goal being, of course, to be able to buy down the cost of housing so that families who want to be in the District of Columbia can find a place to be able to live. The goal, of course, is to be able to end family homelessness. There is not much more debilitating and emotionally debilitating, I should say, than to see, mothers, in most instances mothers, and sometimes dads, and especially very young children who have no place to live, and see the instability that's created in their lives, especially for children who go to school knowing that if they ask where they live, they have to say, if they answer, they have to say they live in a shelter, and having the instability that's created in their educational life. I think we know how tough education is, even when all the things seem to be lined up and aligned properly. And when you don't have a place to live, that certainly adds to the burden. I want to thank the staff who work here at the Virginia Williams Family Resource Center for the work that you all do, and frankly, the work you continue to do as you moved about also in a state of homelessness, so to speak, moving from here, which was not exactly the most desirable building, to 33 N Street, and then now back here at 920 in the permanent home for the Virginia Williams Center. I want to thank you all also for helping families identify housing options to help them get out of shelter, and in many instances keeping them from going in to shelter. This is a problem that we and many other cities have lived with for a very long time. And some of it is a result of the desirability and the success of a city that continues to upgrade in so many areas in the city, in so many ways, and frankly makes the housing stock without intervention increasingly unaffordable to people who want to live in the District of Columbia. So, you know, the things that you all do here, like making public benefits available to folks, opening the doors to child care, and helping people get a job, all of those are hugely important to be able to improve the outcomes for our families. So again, I want to thank you all. There are a lot of people who are going to have a couple of words to say to you all this morning. I want to start with someone who I've worked with for a very long time. She is truly a human services professional and very dedicated to the work that we attempt to do every day. She's been our Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services since our administration started. She a minute ago said, no, I don't think I want to speak. And I told her, yeah, you have to speak, Bibi. You have to come up and say something. Please join me in welcoming our Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, Bibi Otero.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for being here. I want to applaud the mayor for the challenge that he put in front of us, and basically said, you know, you have to do everything in your power to make sure that we move families from shelters into housing and into permanent housing, and it was his sort of one day called me up and said, we're going to do 500 families in 100 days, and that's the challenge. And so I want to thank all of the staff that's here, everyone that the mayor has already mentioned. This has been a private public partnership that has been really amazing. You should know that we meet every single Monday morning. And every single Monday morning, we go through where are we and who else do we have to touch and how else do we have to do this and how creative can we be to make sure that the #1 job, which is to find affordable housing for families, is at the top of our agenda. I want to take a step back for a minute and acknowledge someone who's not here with us today, but who was as passionate and as energetic about this and really forced us to think very creatively and different early on, and who really helped fashion the strategy around these Family Resource Center and this integration along with the mayor, and that's David Burns. So I just want to make sure that we, every time I talk to him, he says, don't call me, I'm lying at the beach, I'm playing with my grandchildren. But David really came to this city with just a sense of fresh air around what could be done and what is possible, and his amazing belief in families. And so I want to start by thanking the families we work with, thanking them for allowing us to work with you, thanking you for giving us the privilege of partnering with you as you work through what it takes to help stabilize families. And you know, we should all recognize that at one point or another, all of us need some help. All of us need someone to help lift us out of whatever our situation is. And I think we are privileged to be those that are around you, and the privilege we have to at that moment not be the ones who need the hand, but are the ones who can give the hand. And so in that sense, I just want to recognize the families for the amazing work they've done. The fact that we have the numbers of families here who have been placed in permanent housing means that every single one of those families has taken a leap of faith to get out on their own and to help their families move forward. And with the help of the staff, as the mayor said, a major thank you to the staff and certainly to the leadership team at DHS. I want to just recognize the amazing work that they do. Human services is tough. There are lots of moving parts. There are lots of situations that are so incredibly difficult to overcome, yet folks come to work every single day. And they open the doors and they're there for families. And so for that, I want to really recognize and thank you. And I want to thank the mayor for allowing me to do this. Thank you very much.
All right, our next speaker will be the Director of the Department of Human Services, who actually stepped in when David decided to go back to Michigan, which is where he's, is he really on a beach there? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to see him on a beach in about 2 months. Anyway, she's done a fantastic job. She was with the department. She was working in our Economic Security Administration, which used to be called IMA. We stopped using that name a while ago. Please welcome Deborah Carroll.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us to celebrate the grand opening of the Virginia Williams Resource Center. I especially want to thank the Mayor, Vincent Gray, and Deputy Mayor Otero for their commitment to human services and the customers that we serve on a daily basis. I want to acknowledge the community partnership and Sue Marshall for her stewardship and leadership in the Coalition for the Homeless and Mike Farrell and the many, many nonprofit partners in our homeless services continuum for which we would not be able to do the work that we do. To our building owners, Douglas and Jamal, Norman Jamal, we have been so grateful for this beautiful space, and on behalf of DHS and all the families that we serve, thank you. I also want to thank the man, as earlier stated, who tasked us with the responsibility of implementing a vision, and a vision that I deeply shared in terms of integrating services for families. Though he's not here with us today, we'll make sure he gets a copy of this video, and I would be remiss not to give him credit for his vision, for making us take this next step. When we looked at the data and realized that 95% of our families seeking homeless services are eligible for TANF assistance, we knew that an integrated service model, along with the case management and job development services, would make a huge difference in the lives of our customers. Each family seeking shelter services receives the TANF comprehensive assessment. Co-located agency partners such as the Department of Behavioral Health, the Office of the State Superintendent for Education, Child Support Services Division of OAG, and other diversion programs such as the Emergency Rental Assistance are here to serve our families in a one-stop shop operation. Since 2000, family homelessness in the district has doubled. The administration has responded to the housing needs of families by designating an unprecedented amount of resources to increase the affordable housing options in the district. But the efforts didn't stop there. The staff at Virginia Williams Family Resource Center were especially trained to help keep families out of shelter where possible by providing the supports and the services that may enable them to stay in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, shelter is not necessarily the place that you want to raise your children, and like TANF, should be a temporary safety net for families that are in crisis. Shelter should be an absolute last resort. And since we've implemented the integrated services model 2 years ago, over 5,000 families have come to seek services, but only a fraction of those families have had to be placed in emergency shelter. That's due in part to our wonderfully committed staff who negotiate with families, friends, and loved ones on behalf of our customers to keep them housed while they seek the services that they need to become self-sufficient. And as the mayor has mentioned, we've identified over 600 affordable apartment units for families through the 500 Families 100 Days campaign. And if there are any other landlords out there, we're looking for more. At our peak in January, we had 742, and we're hoping that we will not have to a replacement, or we don't want to revisit that again this fiscal year. Again, I want to thank each and every one for joining us today. The Virginia Williams staff, you're awesome, and I applaud you for all the work you're doing and the work that you do going above and beyond the call of duty on a daily basis. Thanks again.
And we have a department that just celebrated its 3rd birthday. On October 1st, the Department of General Services, which we created as a way of bringing services together in a way that we thought would improve efficiency for sure, and probably effectiveness as well. We had modernization activity. Isn't that a great term, modernization? We had modernization activity going on all over the government. DPR had its own construction activity. The schools had its own. The fire department had its own. MPD had its own. We had a Department of Real Estate Services, and there were just enough units in existence to not effectively work together. And that has changed tremendously over the last 3 years, and you can see the results in places like this. And the person who I asked to come and take on this responsibility has done an extraordinary job. It's great to be with him now, for months now, about once a week, as we announce the completion of projects like this that not only upgrade the facilities but improve the expression of our regard for human beings in the course of it. So please join me in welcoming Brian Hanlon, Director of DGS.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, all. I want to just start by thanking our mayor, who has, this city is better off now because of his leadership, and it has been. I'm a born and bred Washingtonian, and it has been, for me, an honor of a lifetime, not just to work for our city, but to serve under Mayor Vincent C. Gray, who has taken on tough issues, has remained steadfast. His vision and his leadership has led to positive change across the city. And one of the things that I like about him too is that he went out and selected leaders and let them do their jobs and encouraged them to be creative and thoughtful and to never just say no or take no for an answer, but to keep pushing the envelope. This facility, and similar to the Fort Davis as an integrated service center, is a reflection of that, which is it's not just about providing places for people to seek service, but to create a place where the service is that much more effective, and therefore outcomes are made more so by that. You've got multiple agencies that are represented here. There's DHS, there's OSSI, there is, I think, CFSA. Deborah was telling me that earlier. And that allows folks to be able to come here and instead of having to go 4 or 5 different places, it's all here. We about doubled the square footage of this facility, therefore about doubled the number of people here, and it's just going to be much more effective. So, and that's a reflection of our mayor, who, again, I'm very grateful to be able to have served him. And of course, I want to thank Deputy Mayor Otero, who's great fun to work with, and Interim Director Carroll, who's just been great. I loved working with David, and I'm a little jealous that he spent so much time at the beach, but it's been great working with you. And of course, Natalie Kaplan and Sanina Pugh, who is, where is Sanina? Hi, Sanina. Of course, the community partnership, Cornell Chappelle and Sue Marshall. I want to thank my team. 2 of my deputies are represented here. June Locker runs our capital construction division, and she's the person responsible for generally making me look good when it comes to these projects. And she's served by Bola and Bola Williams and Danny Boneline, who's back there, who was the project manager for this. And then the other deputy, who I believe is present, is Jonathan Kane, who manages our portfolio. There's Jonathan. And of course, he works with Regina Payton, and Jonathan helped put this deal together. And of course, want to thank Norman and Doug Jamal for helping make this possible. I'll just close by saying in all of our projects, we encourage the hiring of district workers and district-based companies. And this project, of course, is no exception. So thank you very much.
Before I introduce our next 2 speakers, I want to acknowledge someone whose name has been mentioned several times already, the Jamal family. I see Norm just came in a few minutes ago. Norm, we thank you for working with us to make this happen so much. I mentioned public-private partnerships, and certainly 2 of the most instrumental components of it for this effort anyway are the 2 people and the organizations they represent that I'm going to introduce now. First of all, the Community Partnership for the Prevention of Homelessness. That is directed by Sue Marshall. I guess she's been the director for well more than 20 years now. I won't say how many. I don't exactly know, but I'll just leave it at more than 20. How's that? And she will be followed by Mike Farrell, who also, maybe not as long as Sue, but he's been at it for a long time, as well as the director of the Coalition for the Homeless. Guys, come on up.
Good morning. So I'd like to start my remarks asking for a moment of silent remembrance of Gene Hunter, who passed away peacefully very recently and whose spirit lives in this building. Thank you. And I'd like to use Mrs. Hunter as a representative of all the frontline staff who work here, the people who do the hard day-to-day work so people like me can stand in front of you and receive the accolades for what goes on here. I'd also like to remember Virginia Williams and go back a little farther than 33 N Street. Before we were at 33 N Street, we were at 25 M Street Southwest in the neighborhood where we have our fabulous new baseball stadium. And Virginia Williams was a woman who worked for the Georgetown Child Development Center. She was not the mother of our former mayor. And I remember Virginia Williams because I came to this work with a passion for children. And one day when I visited was the Virginia Williams Center on M Street, I stopped to speak with a child, and Virginia stopped me and she said, "Sue, always stoop down when you talk to children, meet them at eye level." So I want to encourage us to keep our focus on the children, because everyone who comes in here looking for services comes with children. I want to make the point, and I want to acknowledge Deputy Mayor Otero, who keeps our focus on the children, that not only are the children who come here with their parents young people, the vast majority, and this is increasing, of the family heads of households we serve are young women. So to people of my vintage, they too are children and should command everything we have as we try to work with them in the comprehensive fashion that this center represents for us. I think it is wonderful that we all serve a mayor who cares so much about not only the people we serve, but also the environments in which we serve them. So I want to commend you for that. And I finally want to comment on the housing portion of the work that we do. I've had the privilege of being named to the Housing Production Trust Fund that is managing those mega millions that go into the housing that we really do need to solve the problem of homelessness. And we are about solutions. So we are working on that task force to bring together the demand side issues, including the chronic poverty that we are trying to serve, to better target the units that are produced to the very lowest income band that we serve, the 0 to 30. So, Mr. Mayor, I want to close by commending you for your leadership and for all the tools that you have put in place to help us get our work done. And I want to yield the floor to Michael from the Coalition for the Homeless.
Good morning. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, not only for your leadership and your current capacity, but for your many years of service in the human services arena in a number of different capacities, including former director of the Department of Human Services. To you, Ms. Otero, I also thank you for your leadership and your community involvement as well. And I certainly thank the Department of Human Services and the Community Partnership for the Prevention of Homelessness for their continued support and for allowing the Coalition for the Homeless to partner with them in this great work, this much needed work. And certainly while all of us would like to see the end of homelessness today, the reality is we must deal with the challenges that we're currently confronted with in the most effective way possible. And so I thank you, Ms. Marshall, and thank the Department of Human Services for that opportunity. When I entered, I was asked the question, you know, how long had the Coalition for the Homeless been involved in this work here at the Virginia Williams Family Resource Center? And we've been involved since 1995. And during that time, we have seen the movement from 25 M Street to N Street, well, I should say, to 920 Rhode Island Avenue, then to N Street, and now we're back home. And so we're certainly excited about being a part of the team to continue this great work as we continue to integrate the services. And while the staff have been recognized, I also, in my capacity as Executive Director of the Coalition for the Homeless, want to recognize all of the staff here, both past and present, for their steadfast dedication and commitment to the servicing the families with children that we have in the District of Columbia. Sue read my speech, and she's already recognized Jean Hunter. What I would add to that was Jean Hunter was the senior social worker here at the Family Resource Center from 1995 until she retired again in 2011. She originally retired from the Department of Human Services as a social worker. And so I want to give you some further food for thought as it relates to the legacy of Jean Hunter. Last but certainly not least, must recognize Omega Butler, who served as the program director from 1995 up until just a couple of months ago. She has been promoted to the position of life skills coordinator to help families move towards a higher level of self-sufficiency. So just want to recognize those two great ladies as well as the current director here at the Virginia Williams Family Resource Center, Amy Rice. In the simplest terms, and in very simple terms, the work that's done by the staff here from the Coalition for the Homeless includes the intake and assessment process to determine eligibility for shelter services, prevention, mediation, and diversion assistance to help keep families from entering shelter, case management, and staffing the hypothermia after hours call center. All critically important services, and I certainly add my thanks, to the staff for their many hours of work, especially during hypothermia season, to make everything run as smoothly as possible. Once again, I thank each and every one of you for your continued support and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. We're now going to hear from somebody you will see in your program. She's referred to as a customer. And I'm actually proud. When I was the director of DHS, I used to call people clients. And a lot of folks didn't like that, including me. So it's amazing that a term has endured that long because we are here to serve. We are here to serve people. And when you serve people, you are in a customer relationship. And so people have now, for about 20 years, been customers of the Department of Human Services. And we're proud to have a customer here with us today who's going to speak a little bit about her experience and hopefully what she sees as a brighter future ahead. So please welcome Phyllis Caston Morgan.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Phyllis Morgan. It's been a long journey, but I really appreciate everybody here. You are my family. My son, William, he's 12 years old. We come all the way from Chicago, Illinois. We went in the shelter January of this year. We came out March 5th of this year. And I really thank all of you all, because without your help, no telling where me and my baby would be at right now. So I really appreciate you all. Mayor Vincent Gray, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. These children, we really need our children. So all of you all, thank you.
Marvin, is that you back there? You know I'm not going to let the opportunity go by without having HUD come up. Marvin I'll let him give you the rest of his credentials, but he's been a real partner in helping us be able to move forward on the affordable housing front. He's done lots of things. He's had lots of programs. So rather than me go through an extensive introduction of you, Marvin, I'm going to ask you to come up. But he really is, he's the coordinator for HUD in this area. And thank you very much for coming out today, Marvin. Thank you.
Whoa. This way. Well, listen, I'm not going to be that long. I am the director of the National Capital Area of HUD, and there's nothing more important that we do than remove barriers to housing for people, whether it's affordable housing, whether it's homelessness, or whether it's fair housing. I'm so happy to hear your story and hear how you're persevering through this, and the department certainly is behind you. Listen, nothing we could do at our department would be as beneficial as we're doing it without great leadership by the mayor and deputy mayor and the folks in this audience. So I won't take any more time than that, but to say thank you, thank everyone for coming out, and may God bless you and continue to bless America. Thank you.
All right, to close us out and let us know how we will then transition into the ceremonial, other ceremonial aspects of this, we're going to bring back up our Family Services Administrator, Michelle Williams. Michelle.
So I was brief on purpose in my introduction because I knew you would learn a lot from the other speakers. So it was intentional. So we wanted to just thank you all again for coming out today and let you know what's happening next. We're going to proceed with our ribbon cutting, which I believe is going to take place in the front of the building.
3, 2, 1.